the 14th, then I will try to post them on that following Monday. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The second question is that the RFP noted that the proposer or the bidder should provide a contract vehicle through which to buy licenses. So I want a clarification that it is not the expectation that the licenses will be acquired on the contract based on this RFP, and that you're looking for a pre-existing contract, whether it's NASPO, whether it's GSA, state vehicle, something else through which the licenses can be procured.
And do you want to take that? How are we going to acquire licenses?
Yeah, so I think this depends on the business model of what's being proposed. I think the long and short of it is that we want to be license holders, and if you are reselling a product, that there's a contract vehicle in place to say that we have access to the system, don't have ownership of the system, some sort of guiding document there. So it's not a question of whether or not we are authorized license holders. If you are the manufacturer of the system, then I think it's probably more straightforward. But yeah, that's what that is getting at.
Okay. Okay. I took it to mean contract vehicle, but it's just a means of. So if the bidder is an authorized reseller and all the paperwork squared away for that, then that's not a problem.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. For the criteria here mentioned on page 7 about the Detroit headquartered business and the Detroit-based business, is Detroit headquartered business meaning that the business must be within City of Detroit limits and Detroit-based businesses within the vicinity? How is that defined?
So I'll take that. So on the evaluation matrix, we do recognize and give scoring points for Detroit based in Detroit headquartered businesses. Now, the way that we look at that is that business is certified by the City of Detroit as a Detroit-based and headquartered business, which is called, they have a process in the department called CREO. You'll be able to find that on the DMC website. I mean, not the DMC website, on the City of Detroit website. And so if you are a registered Detroit-based business with the City of Detroit, you would get extra points for that.
If I could add something additional, Detroit-based means you have an office in Detroit. Detroit headquarters means the headquarters of your corporation are in Detroit.
And this is within city limits, correct?
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Good morning. I have 2 questions. I understand you look for a plug-and-play solution, but I have a question to the repair work order management and appointment booking. Can you tell or share a little bit about how the current system is provided? Is it via a self-service portal or linked via an API to a dedicated website?
Take that one. So our repair work order and our appointment booking is done through the self-service portal currently, and it's an entire workflow behind that brings in a ticket, of course, or the case in that matter. Our appointment scheduler is built in. It is partial within Sharewell, partial of it is built via API. So we've designed it. So basically we basically had to build it out least for the GUI interface is an API with a server that we built code on. It's basically just for the graphical layout. All the rest of the stuff internal behind the scenes are interfacing with Sharewell.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the answer. And then my other question is, do you have any preference to a SaaS or an on-premise solution?
Currently, our Sharewell is hosted, so
Okay.
I don't believe, and Brandon, you can step in if you prefer.
Yep, thank you. Yep, preference for SaaS.
Okay, thank you. Those were my questions.
I have a few questions. On page 3, you mentioned that the selected vendor solution needs to include the following components, and you provide a bulleted list there. Given that you have a year left to get off of Sharewell, are all of these bullet points required for that initial implementation, or are you thinking of like a phased approach where you get the MVP in before Sharewell end of life, and then other modules could come in afterwards?
I'll hop in on this one. So we're looking to have we're looking to have everything implemented as far as the bullet points for IT. The only phased approach would be the non-IT departments coming on, like payroll and treasury. Those would be phased in as far as the project, but majority of the main elements, ITSM, incident, change request, all of those would have to be ready day one.
Okay, so on page 4 for the case management configuration support, where you have payroll, DDOT, so on and so forth, that can occur after the Sharewell end of life when you're moved over to the new system, but it can start earlier if that's possible. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
But like I said, the departmental pieces, like I said, payroll and treasury, it will be a phased approach. Everything else would need to be live day one, go live.
Would this also be true for the additional professional services implementation and support section on page 5? Are those also part of the MVP or part of the phased approach?
That should be ready day one as well.
Okay, thank you. Another question I have, do you require any integrations to external systems as part of these additional services?
Currently, no, but that is something that some of our shareholders or stakeholders are looking to do.
Thank you. Can you provide a list of, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay, could you provide a list of other systems that you would like to integrate with at some point in the future, if that list is available?
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
Thank you.
I have one question. On the page 4, it says integration of the phone system for contact centers. What kind of contact center software you're using currently? Or which contact center you would like to see the new system to be integrated with?
We are currently using Avaya, but that may change. We are putting together an RFI and a subsequent RFP to replace the phone system. That is probably on the same timeline as the ITSM, but right now we use Avaya.
Thank you.
I have an additional question regarding the capabilities. Is the expectation for everything to be done on a single platform?
Can you expound on your question? What do you mean by single
Yep.
platform?
For example, you said that you're looking for an ITSM solution, but additional professional services and implementation support, notes, patch management, or endpoint MDM, those are typically different solutions. And depending on how deep we go on the list, there are ITSM solutions that have some of those play nice with other tools that do something like network mapping, but it isn't native on their platform. Is there a preference for everything to be as much as possible on a single platform?
What they're asking. Yeah, their asset management feature is still all part of Cheryl, even though I guess technically it's a separate platform. It's all integrated at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Yes.
Preference for yes, I think, to your question. Yes, preference for a single platform, at least in terms of how the user experience on our end is functioning. We want to be able to stay within the same platform to access everything.
Okay. So it's not so for right now, you have Cheryl Service Management, Cheryl Asset Management. Admitting those solutions are two different, because they are two different backends. You admin them differently. You'd be looking ideally at a solution where you're admitting everything from one place.
Well, they are two. Yeah, they are two separate, but we're admitting everything from one console the way we built it, or we have it configured. So.
Okay.
I have a question. It's related to reference and that are required in the proposal. So as per the instructions under attachment B respondent questionnaire point number 3, the RFP is asking for 3 references within the last 5 years, but there is also another dedicated form named reference form within the bid package. So the question is, are we supposed to submit the same references 3 times using the same document, or we just need to pick any reference for this form?
I think initially, if you just submit 3 references, then that would be good. If we needed to dive deeper, we can ask for further information. But so you don't have to submit it multiple times, just once.
So should we ignore this form while submitting the proposal, the reference form, or should we just pick the right reference for this form?
You could just pick the right reference for that form.
Okay, thank you.
Can we include the pricing matrix along with every other piece of documentation in a single document, or do we need to submit and seal that separately?
I've done it both ways, so I don't really have a preference. I think it would be easier to for clarity to submit each item separately as a separate document. It's just easier, so we can have everything labeled individually.
Thank you. Do you have a specific naming convention for those file names, or as long as it says attachment A or B or whatnot, that's okay?
Yeah, I don't have a
Okay.
specific format.
Thank you.
Okay, those are all good questions.
Two quick questions, actually. You had mentioned before that you've highly customized some things within the existing system. The first question is would these customizations more fall within the configuration customization category, or actual had to do outside of the system customizations in order to get these functionalities to work? That would be the first question.
They would be within the system.
So it's more of a configuration within the system. Okay. And
Correct.
then
we do have some small bits and pieces with Treasury that interacts with their City of Detroit website, which is just via API. So.
Okay. And then leading to the second question there, is there a percentage of how many of these custom configurations are day one delivery fall under that category versus for the phased approached parts of the system?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would say, and the reason why I ask that is I know sometimes when you have a phased approach, you've got external systems like you mentioned their payroll, treasury, and so forth. Those are the ones that actually normally have more customizations to do integration points. So that's why I was wondering if there was a balance of how much customization falls under day one versus the phased approach?
Well, as far as again, as we're looking to do the departmental, the non-IT folks, as we call them, in a phased approach. But as far as IT, a lot of our workflows are customized. A lot of our purchase, the purchase request module that we use is heavily customized. So a lot of that would have to be in place day one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we care about ourselves first. We want to
your
get
IT. Your
Yeah.
IT, yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah, but to your point, the other modules are heavily customized. At least a lot of that is done within the system. Some bits do touch, SQL databases to that degree, but those would have to be, once we phase those in, those would have to be, day one deliverables once we get to those as well.
And an additional question, real quick here, and based on what I'm hearing, it sounds like obviously you want common user interface. You want the users to all see the same thing, but if some back-end things have to be, like you mentioned, there a SQL database, that's acceptable.
Yes.
Okay. As long as the end users see the same thing. Perfect. Thank you.
One question on the historical data. I know Cherwell has some of the requests in the past. Do you expect the historical data to be migrated to the new platform, or that can remain as it is?
That is a question that, that Brandon, I guess we need to talk about. Me and Nick briefly talked about this. This is something we probably need to sit down as a team and talk about. Because we need to take payroll and treasury into account of what they're auditing and history, what they need.
Yes, that is probably, I think, the biggest question mark about this project is how to handle data migration.
So do you think you will have an answer for the questions due time?
Yes, if you submit it in writing, we'll have time to get together as a team and provide, more clarity on the answer. I mean, my lean is that, I don't know if we're going to be able to migrate all of the data, but there probably will be some data that is required to be migrated. So if in your proposal you were talking about how you might assist with that, I think that would be a benefit.
Sure. Thanks, Brandon.
Any others? Okay. No, go ahead. Going once, going twice. All right. So thank you. I think that'll cover it then for today. Again, we have till the 14th to submit questions through Oracle or requests through Oracle, and I will turn them around to the team, get answers, and then distribute them back out through Oracle to you. So thank you for joining, and we hope to see some good creative proposals at the end of the month. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, all.